Feedback is one of the skill part of the question 7 12 mark question topics. You may be asked to give reasons why we would give feedback or the benefits of giving feedback. Normally as a coach, we would give feedback in order to reinforce people's strengths. So in other words, catch them doing it well and highlight the fact that they've done well. This gives them reinforcement and they're more likely to repeat it. This can give them confidence. We can also do the opposite of that and highlight people's weaknesses, so we can pick out the errors and look to modify those weaknesses so we can try to correct them. And also we can try to give feedback for motivational reasons. How we make feedback effective? Well, we should make it relevant to the ability of the performer. So it should be at a level that's appropriate to the performer. We'll do this when we'll look at this in detail when we look at the types of feedback. So obviously look at the difference between a beginner, a cognitive performer, and an expert, an autonomous performer. Make it clear and concise. Concise is important because we can't, as we know through short-term memory, we can't retain many pieces of information in our working memory at any one time. So a couple of pieces of information at a time is very important. It needs to be accurate. I know that's obvious, but we need to be giving feedback that is actually correct. Immediate is better. People will remember it if it's easier if it's given immediately. And then we need to give the performer some time to digest the information. They might do some mental rehearsal with it, but also we need to then give them time to then go and practice. So don't be giving feedback and then just giving more feedback, and so the performer never has time to actually think about the feedback and also put the feedback into action and correct it. So therefore we shouldn't overuse feedback as well. We should give performer practice time and not give constant commentating feedback. So the types, you need to know the types, be able to describe them, and also explain which types of performer you would give the feedback to, or which it would be more appropriate to. So we've got intrinsic and we've got extrinsic. So intrinsic is from within. Okay, so within the performer themselves, the performer would give their own feedback on this occasion. Often this is due to their proprioception, how the movement feels. So they know themselves that it feels correct. So an autonomous performer would be able to do this. Extrinsic comes from outside, so this is you as the coach. The coach would normally give verbal or visual feedback to give an extra detail. And this would be normally more beneficial with cognitive performers. It's not to say that you wouldn't give extrinsic feedback with autonomous performers, but cognitive performers need more of it more often. Continuous or concurrent, which is the same thing. This types of feedback happens during the performance. So we would give, as the performer is actually carrying out the move, we would be giving feedback as they're doing it. So this might be, for example, on a trampoline routine where we're shouting feedback as they're doing the routine itself. Often this might be their own intrinsic feedback, but it could be instruction from us, the coach. That could be extrinsic. And autonomous performers are better at this because they can handle that information. Right, because they do the move automatically, they have space in their brain to process, take in the input, take in the feedback and process it as well. Terminal, so terminal comes at the end. So this is after the performance. So terminal would be, do the routine, right, come and sit down and we'll chat about it now. So we'll do a bit of a review of the whole routine. So this would be better for a cognitive performer because as the cognitive performer is actually carrying out the move, they need to think about what they're doing, hence the term cognitive. So they haven't got space to listen to instructions or feedback as well and put that into place. They're too busy thinking about what they need to do for the move. And delayed is a form of terminal feedback. So this would be, it is what it says really, it's with a delay. So this is sometime after the performance. So that could be at the end of the session, but it also could be next session. It could be a while after. It could be that the coach decides to do some video feedback a while later, even in the next session. Positive and negative are obvious. So positive is highlighting the strengths, giving some reinforcement, giving some praise. So obviously cognitive learners benefit from plenty of praise. Whereas negative feedback would be criticism of errors. So we'll be highlighting the errors and trying to say how we would correct them. This is better for autonomous performers. Or it's the fact that autonomous performers are able to handle a bit of negative feedback a lot better. Lastly, this is the type of feedback that you're giving. So this can be knowledge of results or knowledge of performance. So knowledge of results is around the outcome. Don't use the same word. Don't use results. Use a different word to mean the same thing. It's around the outcome. Is it successful? Is the move successful? So sometimes this might be obvious, but some cognitive performers would not know whether the move they've just done or the technique that they've just done was correct or not, so they might need telling. Autonomous performers know this, so knowledge of results is redundant for autonomous performers because they know whether they got it right or not. Knowledge of performance is around the quality of technique, so again, don't be tempted to use the word performance. Use its technique. It's about technical things and it's to do with the quality of it. So how good was it? How good was their performance? How good was their technique? So autonomous performers need this in terms of more detailed feedback that would actually improve their performance. Now there's an overlap here sometimes because obviously cognitive learners would also need knowledge of performance in that early stage as well. It's just that knowledge of results might be more appropriate at times as well.